You guys, so many times when a topic for a video comes to mind repeatedly and will not leave my brain, and I do a video about it, somebody inevitably says, I needed this video. That video was for me. So I have been putting off talking about this um, for various reasons, but I I feel like I can't put it off any longer because yesterday I watched a video of a YouTuber with a completely different um, audience than my audience. You know, she's got a whole different thing going on her channel, but she decided to talk about her experience with mental health and self-harming behaviors that she used to have. And she said that she shared her story on YouTube because she wanted to make sure that anyone out there who was going through something similar would be able to watch a video and see that there is hope. Because she said, like, when you're in the middle of all that really hard stuff, you often think that, like, it's always going to be this way. Things are never going to get better. I will never get better. I'll never just feel normal, you know, let alone feel good. And she told her whole journey. It was really heartbreaking, but I felt like it was important to watch because I wanted to be able to understand where she's someone who has a completely different worldview than I do. So I felt like it was really important to see where she was coming from. So we have different beliefs, but she has a very human experience of going through really, really hard times and coming through those hard times and being able to say, like, hey, keep going. There is help. You know, change is possible. Life can get better. It was, in that way, it was extremely inspiring, and I thought really beautiful to put something out there that was that vulnerable, and just for the sake of somebody out there who might be able to relate and really need to hear that somebody got through that really painful experience and is on the other side thriving in many ways. So when I saw that video, I was very impressed with her having the courage to, like, share really hard things for the sake of someone else out there. And I was like, Kendall, you gotta share your story. And so I figured out a way to share it, maintaining privacy and respectfulness. So it won't be like, there's going to be some places where I don't go into full details, but I just want you to know it's because, like, I want to maintain people's privacy. I'm not an air your dirty laundry type person, and I just want to focus on my experience for anyone out there who's maybe gone through something really difficult and can relate and might need to see that there is thriving life on the other side of these things. Also, I want to share it because if anyone can relate to my background, to be able to see that, like, wow, someone with that background, meaning like faith, being a Christian, can experience painful, like, mental health seasons and go through something like I'm going to share. So this is for you, whoever you are out there going through something difficult, and or if you know someone who's going through something similar, maybe this will help give you insight into where they're coming from. But all that to say, I believe I'm titling this video My Experience with Disordered Eating, or My Disordered Eating Story. Mine started, man, is it 20 years ago now? Okay, I'm 44. Wow, 24. 24 years ago? No. Okay, I'll just say I was 20. Yeah, I was 20. Oh boy. Okay, so a lot of time has gone by. Wow. So, the introduction to this is that when I was 20, it was the summer of 2001. There we go. It was the summer of 2001, and I was going through a really, really painful thing. That's the thing I will leave vague, but just insert whatever deeply painful emotional experience you would like to fit in there. So I was going through a really, really, like, almost the most painful thing I'd ever experienced up to that point in my life. And that's like the setup of the mental state that I was in, was just a lot of emotional pain, and feeling like alone, helpless, praying to God, asking for help and not seeing it, and just that feeling, and like being like 20 and trying to figure out life, balancing like being an adult in the world and college. And so I was having all this stuff going on. I was working in a restaurant at the time, and I went to work, and I, was trying to balance these painful things, and then I was going to work at this restaurant, which I loved. I loved the restaurant that I was working at. I've been working there since I was 16, and I could come back during, breaks from college and still pick up some hours there. Great place. Loved it. And I had friends there. And I went into the back of the restaurant and was like, we always had to like roll silverware into napkins. And I was doing that. And there was a husband and a wife couple who were cooks there, and they were from Mexico, so they spoke Spanish, and I had taken Spanish in high school, so we always had fun. Like, I would practice my Spanish with them, and they were like the sweetest couple. But unknowingly, the wife of this couple came up to me, and I think this was my first time back since coming back from college, so I hadn't seen her for several months. And so, my name's Kendall, but she would call me Candelaria. And so she came up to me and she was like, "Hola, Candelaria." And I was like, "Hola." And then she looked down, she kind of looked me up and down. And I know now that to her, this is like a compliment, but to me, it wasn't. She said something about me, Candelaria, being más gordita than when she had last seen me, meaning I was a little bigger than when she last saw me. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know what to do with that. So you have this environment of me having a really painful experience, and then having someone at work tell me that I was a little fatter. To her, I'm sure to this day, wherever she is, she doesn't know, she doesn't have any clue that, like, to her, that was like a cute and endearing thing, meant as like sweet. But to me, I was like, oh. And I have to tell you, ever since childhood, I've been very thin. Like, I've put on more weight as I've, of course, gotten into my 30s and 40s. But when I was 20, I don't even know if I weighed 100 pounds. Maybe I weighed 100 pounds. Like, I was very slender. And maybe after going to college, I probably did maybe put on maybe a few pounds. I don't know. I didn't weigh myself. I don't weigh myself now, and I didn't weigh myself then, so I wasn't keeping track. But I guess maybe I put on a little bit, but I would say that it was healthy. Anyways, so then that stuck in my brain. So then that was in my head. I was like, I'm fatter. And so that melded into this thing where, I've started this video multiple times, so I don't remember if I put it in at the beginning of this video or one that I decided to redo. But I wanted to say there is a difference between going something really painful and losing your appetite. There's a difference between that and having an appetite and choosing purposefully to not eat. So what happened to me was I was going through this hard time, and then I had someone tell me, "Oh, you've gotten a little fatter since I've last seen you." And it was the perfect storm, because that, I think from that moment, that started me restricting my eating. And so what that looked like is like maybe I was at home and, maybe I was hungry. It was lunchtime or dinner time, and I'd maybe just eat a little bit and then be hungry later. And I have distinct memories of in my mind being like, oh, I'm hungry. And then I would say, like, my mind to myself would be like, fine, you can starve then. Ooh, and like I feel the sting of those words now, but for some reason, I was not alerted to that as danger at all at the time. I mean, of course, I was only 20, going through something difficult. But I mean, nowadays, if I have a thought like that, I am immediately like, whoa, not okay. Time out, Kendall. Figure this out. Be kind to yourself. Wow. Like at the time, and I don't quite understand how I got into that zone, but mentally it was just like, it was like I was my own prison ward or something, where it was like, I'm hungry, you can starve. It was like this very strange thing. And some people talk about having like restrictive eating, and they say like, well, it was the one thing I could control. I wanted control. And I have never identified with that being the motivation. It was almost like, yeah, I gained a little insight as time went on. So to back up, this was in the summer of 2000, and the coming school year, heading back into college, I was actually going to be an RA. So like a residence assistant at a Christian college. So I was going to be going back into school with like a leadership position, kind of like, you're going to be a mentor to others. I'm like, wow. I don't know what I was thinking, how that was all going to work out, and like, yikes. You can't like, it's not, let's just say, it's not a great example to show to others to say like, when you're hungry, oh, you can starve, So for a little while, so that was the summer. I don't remember how many months till school started. It might have been a month or two that this went on. I probably lost weight. Again, I don't remember. The thing about weight disappeared from my mind. It started it, but after that, it really wasn't about thinking that like, I need to be skinny or I'm fat. So somehow, there's still a lot of mystery to this that I don't understand. Somehow, the thing about gaining weight was not the important thing. It was in there to help trigger it, and then it disappeared. I wasn't trying to be skinny. It was about like, oh, I'm hungry, you can starve. And so I would like not eat enough and I'd be hungry a lot. So like I said, I'm a Christian, and I was a Christian then. And so I could sense, I'm like, I don't really get why I'm doing this. I was really baffled with myself. I was like, I don't know why. I'd be praying. I was like, God, I don't know why I'm doing this, but can you give me like a Bible verse so that I can stop? Because I couldn't think of a verse, like I need a verse. What? Shake the whole camera. I'm like, I need a verse to stop me from, like, I think I was thinking like, if this is wrong, I need you to tell me it's wrong, but I need it to be with like a verse. Because I didn't actually understand what I was doing, but I could sense that it wasn't quite the right thing to do, but I didn't have a reason to not do it. I'll address that later, because now if you are someone experiencing this, I can help you with, if you need more insight on why, things you can say to yourself and remember that will help you not to do this. I'll share that coming later. But I want to talk about this happened for, again, I can't remember if it was a month or two, but I remember praying and asking God to give me a verse. I was like, God, if you want me to stop doing this, please give me a verse or something. And I didn't get one. It's just not really a topic that came up a lot in the circles I was in. Like, hey, how's everyone's eating habits? Are you taking care of yourselves? Yes, no? Like, it just was not a thing. And so I remember, again, saying, God, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I need a verse to make me stop. So school was starting back up again, and I was, like I said, going to have an RA, a resident assistant position in the women's dorms. And so I was, got back to school. The RAs had to be there earlier, to get ready for our responsibilities before all the new students come into the school. So I was there and literally walking into the dorms. And in these dorms, you'd come through some double glass doors, and then there was a desk, a front desk, and behind the desk was a whiteboard. And whoever's job it was to sit there at the front desk, they could decide like, oh, I want to write a message on this board, or like, welcome, to school. I wish I could remember now who it was. I send a thank you out there to whoever it was. Ultimately, I think it was God leading this person. For some reason, I'm walking in the dorms to be back at school. I've been restricting my eating. I don't know why. I asked for a verse because I could sense it wasn't quite right. I walk in the dorms, and on the whiteboard as I walk in, it says the verse. I can't remember now the scripture reference for where to find it, but you can Google it. It's easy. You can just Google these words. It said, whatever you do, whether you eat or drink, do it all for the glory of God. And I saw that, and I even remember then thinking like, well, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it's certainly not for the glory of God. And from that moment on, I decided like, okay, it ends now. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. And I know that sounds like not everybody's story goes that way. Over the next couple of years, there would be moments where if something really emotionally painful was happening again, I would have that thought. It would come to mind and I'd go, fine, then you can stop eating then. And I'd be like, no, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore. And so thankfully I did not carry that out, but it would come to mind, but I was like, no, we're not doing that. And even then, I still did not really understand why that had been my response to difficult times. But I do know that God gave me that verse, and it took a little while, but somebody decided to write that verse, and they had no idea they were changing somebody's life that day. And it was a great moment. And I think later on, looking back, in some ways, it's kind of like what I said. I was almost like a prison ward for myself, but it was almost like, what do you call it? When people are protesting, like a hunger protest, is that what you call it? So I realized that maybe part of what I was doing was like a hunger protest, but like a hunger protest against God, where it was like, I'm hungry. Well, food is certainly not going to change these circumstances, so I don't want it. It was almost like this, like, okay, God, you're not giving me what I want. Food is not going to give me what I want, so I'm not eating. It was like ridiculous logic, but again, it's a mystery to me how that even, like, the person I am now is so different than that 20-year-old. And of course, if I could go back, I would do it differently, 100%. But at the time, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know what to do, how to talk to myself, how to take care of myself, which brings me to this fact. If I ever find myself being rude to myself in my mind, what I do now is I'm like, Kendall, if you had a friend following you around and saying stuff like that to you, you would immediately be like, get out of here. I'm not listening to you. You're really, like, don't treat me that way. But then how can we let our own minds talk to us that way, Or imagine the person you care about the deepest and is the most important to you. Maybe it's a child of yours. Maybe it's a niece or nephew or a really, really close friend, a spouse, a sister, a brother. Picture someone in your life that you are so close to and you care so much about that you just want to like take care of them and make everything okay for them. Imagine them saying to themselves those things that you're saying to yourself. There is no way you would let that happen. Or if someone else was talking to them that way, there's no way you would let that happen. You'd be like, do not talk to them that way. No. And then you would say all these true, kind, and caring things to that person. So what I have learned over the years is that, you know, like if I'm going to try to not be a hypocrite with my beliefs. So like for me, I believe, you know, what Jesus says, like the greatest commandment is to love God and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So, as I love myself, like it's very hypocritical of me to claim that the creator of the universe loves me, and yet I'm going to not give myself enough food when I'm hungry. Or, you know, the creator of the universe loves me and I need to love others, but all of them can have enough food, but not me. Or all of them don't deserve rude comments or, you know, harsh criticisms, or, you know, none of them deserve that stuff, but I can have it. Where it's like, why? You know, like, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Well, like, if you're not treating yourself well, it doesn't add up if you're like treating everyone else well and not yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a hypocrite. And if I claim that God is love and that Jesus loves me, like, you know, even John 3:16, God so loved the world. Okay, so if he loves people, why am I going to treat one of his people so meanly? Like, you know, like I said, I'm hungry, you can starve. Like, I would never do that to another person. Anyone that I'm with, if they're hungry, it's like, let's get you some food. Or, you know, anyways, I think I've said everything there is to say about that. I think you get it. So what I'm trying to say is, for me, the antidote to treating myself badly, this experience with disordered eating, not letting myself eat if I was hungry, kind of trying to like punish myself or like have a hunger strike until things change. There is a way out of that. And the way that helped me is, whatever you do, whether you're eating or drinking, do it for God's glory. Basically, so like if people look at me and how I treat myself, they would hopefully get an idea of God's love. So if I claim God's love and I'm harming myself, I'm being a hypocrite. And I have compassion for my 20-year-old self. So it's not this whole like, oh, she was horrible, she was starving herself. Like, it's not like that. It's just like, now I know better. I wish I could like time travel. So this is what I'm doing with it. I'm putting it out there for you, for any of you who may need this, that God is love and that God did so love the world. Let's join in his love, you know, and include ourselves, because God loves us. So I want to put that out there. I wanted to put something else out there. What was it? Oh, there was another point I wanted to make. It's slipping my mind. Okay, since we're on 23 minutes, maybe we'll wrap it up here. If you have any questions, or if you know anyone who you think would benefit from this video, either comment or feel free to pass this message along to someone else. Yeah, I can't think of anything else I wanted to say. As I say with every video, it feels weird to say it at the end of this one, but I told myself I was going to mention this at the end of every video. So, complete segue to a completely different topic. If you would like to support this channel more than the way you're already doing, which is more than enough, watching, if you enjoy these types of topics, subscribing. If you are not on a tight budget and you would like to further support this channel, feel free to take a look at my memberships on Buy Me a Coffee. They start as low as $2 a month. I'll have the links in the description. Also, I am selling a gratitude journal. It is called it's either The Honest or My Honest Gratitude Journal, because it gives you a space to write down what was hard about your day and also what you're thankful about, because we need both. All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Let's love God and love others and include ourselves.